Anybody else?
Okay, I'm going to start. If you're not done installing, we have allocated time later on, and we will complete that during one of the breaks. Okay, so thanks for coming. Welcome to Hackerschool's Git and jQuery for beginners. A quick introduction, I'm Michael. If I talk too fast or too slowly, do let me know. Yeah, just stop me and I'll change accordingly. So here's what we're going to go through today. We'll start with jQuery, and then we'll take a break for the installation to complete whatever we are doing right now. Then I'll go through a bit of Git, and then we'll learn those two things, Git and jQuery, in three main parts. This should be on your handout. Okay. So some things first. We have facilitators around, and actually this workshop is kind of it's kind of intensive on like it's kind of hard, so it's kind of complex, and I need you to follow. I need to not lose you along the way, and we have facilitators around. They're all behind. Can you all stand up, please? And they basically know this stuff better than I do, right? Which is why I'm here and they're there. So if you have any trouble along the way, just raise your hand. They'll come to you, and hopefully I don't lose any of you. For the 3 phases. Okay. The next thing is you should already have these 2 things installed, Chrome and Sublime. For those of you that were here during the previous workshop, you should already have it. If you don't, just Google Chrome and Sublime Text 2, and they're free. Just download them. Well, close enough. Okay. So some assumptions and prerequisites for this. So I assume that you have basic HTML, CSS knowledge. What you learned in the last workshop is more than enough. And then for programming, I don't assume that you have programming knowledge, but it's good to have. Yeah, it will help you in a little bit. And in particular, I just need you to understand code. Just these 2 snippets of code very quickly. So can I get a show of hands who this is the first time you see something like this? Okay, so actually there isn't really anything here. It's just know that the word function kind of gives you a paragraph of code, right? Like you have an essay and then you want to divide it into small blocks, then the function is just gives you a paragraph of code. And the next thing I need you to understand is this, right? If and else. So any of you, this is the first time you're seeing it? Okay, cool. So this is basically English, right? So if this, then do this. If not, then do that, right? Okay, so don't worry if you don't get this, or you're like, oh my god, this guy just threw 2 blocks of code on the slide, and I'm gonna leave right now. No, I'll stop later on when I'm doing this again. So okay, this summary. So I want you to now I want you to fire up Google Chrome. So I want you to open Google Chrome, right? And I'm going to show you something. You can follow along if you want. I'm going to Twitter. I don't know if you can see. Yep. So this Twitter, right? And so a bit of context. Actually this looks kind of bootstrappy. Anyway, so a bit of context. Since the last workshop, we learned CSS and HTML. And if you look at this page, you kind of can guess what they are already, right? We have the anchor text here, right? And then we have maybe a div here. And we kind of know how all these things come together right now. Like, we can style it with Bootstrap. Maybe it will look exactly like this. We can put HTML elements. We can make the title Twitter, right? We all know this. So what we're going to do today is to add the interactive element of the page. So in particular, I need to look at this, focus on this. And you see this X here, right? I'm going to click it. And I want to see what happens. So I click this, right? And the thing disappears. Okay, yeah. And if I do the same for the rest, yeah, we don't know how to do this in CSS and HTML, right? This is an interactive part of the page. We don't know how to do this in HTML and CSS yet. And we can't do it. We can't do it in HTML and CSS. We need the JavaScript component. And this is exactly what we are going to cover today, right? So you already know HTML and CSS, and today we're going to do the jQuery part, the JavaScript part, and yeah, then we can make something like this. So by the end of today, you should have a pretty good idea, and you should have the building blocks to put together something like this. Okay, so with that out of the way, I want you to now go to the Hackerschool site, which is this. So how many of you don't have internet? Please raise your hand. The friendly guys at the back will come and help you. Okay, cool. So I want you to go to this site here, and I don't have internet. Okay, I kind of a little bit. Okay, I want you to go to materials page. The materials page.
You need to log in the first time. Oh fuck, this to the back. Too bad.
Go to Git and jQuery for beginners. Oh, it's fast. Okay, and I want you to scroll all the way down, and under pre-workshop, there's this boilerplate.zip over here. Over here, right? I want you to download it. So download this file, unzip it. And I want you to, the resulting folder, I want you to paste it, copy and paste it, move it to your desktop. Okay. So this. Right, I'm going to put it on my desktop. Flip this around. So you should have this boilerplate folder on your desktop.
You need to log in from the browser.
Everyone good? Anyone having problems downloading the file? Okay, if you do, stop me. We have a lot to cover today, so I'm just going to go on. So now I want you to go to open Sublime Text. So fire up Sublime Text. Go to File. And open the folder boilerplate. Open the folder that's on your desktop. And you should have this nice sidebar over here that that has the contents of boilerplate. Okay, the next thing I want you to do is to go back to your desktop. Open boilerplate, the folder, and in it you'll find an index.html. And I want you to open that in Chrome. You should see something like this. Okay, I'm going to tile my windows. You don't have to do this. I'm going to put it side by side so those of you who are on either window can follow. So we have index.html open in Chrome right now, and we have Sublime with the boilerplate folder open. I want you to go to Sublime now and open and click on index.html from the left side, on the left bar. Okay, so you should see something like this, and this should look pretty familiar to you, right? We see a doc type at the top, we see a HTML tag, a head tag, the title tag, we see an image tag here, we see a p tag here with class boo boo. Yeah, all familiar stuff from last workshop. And if you didn't come for last workshop, I'm assuming you know basic HTML, and this should not look strange to you. Right. The only thing of interest to us right now is I want you to scroll all the way to the bottom. And if you notice, there's this strange tag that we have not encountered before, right at the bottom. Right. And it basically is a script tag, right? Actually, can you all see this theme? Is this theme good? Is this color scheme good? No? Better? Okay. So this is pretty interesting, right? We have not seen this. And what this tag basically says is, I have this JavaScript file. I have this file living at the source attribute. So see, we have this js/jQuery.js. And actually, if you go to the sidebar, you realize that we have a JS folder here. And in it, we have this file jQuery.js. Right? And what this tag here is doing is basically saying, hey, load this file into the page as well. Right? It's telling Google Chrome to go find this file, which lives here, and go load it with the page together with the HTML content. Right? Simple enough, right? And so this is basically how you include jQuery into the page. By telling the browser that, hey, I want to include this script file, this is where it lives, and you do that by having a script tag with the source attribute. Okay, so this is not very interesting, right? Now I want you to create a new file, and now besides jQuery, I want to load in my own JavaScript file, because jQuery is this tool, right? We want to write our own stuff. And I want you to go to Sublime and make a new file. I want you to save this file as main.js. Right, I want you to save it beside the jQuery file in the same folder. And the important thing here is the .js part of the file. It basically says to the browser, or basically says to the computer that this is a JavaScript file, right? It's not a .css file, not a .html file, it's a .js file. And I want you to save this file beside the jQuery file. So I'm going to do that. And now what I want to do is I want to challenge you to include this file into the page. Right? We've seen how we load jQuery into the page. And now I want you to add a new script tag and load it into the page. Right? If you are lost right now, just follow along. I'm going to do it anyway. So we have this, right? We have this very good example of the jQuery thing. And I'm going to insert a new script tag, another script tag, and try to load in main.js. So I'm going to type script, the source attribute, and I'm going to say I want to load this file, and it's at js/main.js, right? And then I'm going to close the script tag. Okay, so save this file. Go back to Chrome. Refresh the page. And main.js is there. Trust me. Right, it's there. It's loaded in already. Okay, so that's not very exciting. Let me prove to you that it's there, right? I want you to go to Chrome, go to View, go to Developer, and this time I want you to go to JavaScript console. So click that, and you should see something. Alright. Okay, so I want you to open your console. Go to. For Windows users, you can press F12, and you should see something like this, exactly the same, with the console at the bottom of your page. Okay, if you are stuck at any point, do raise your hand so the facilitators can come to you. We have a lot to cover, so I'm going to go on. So this console, right, is basically a place where. So this is the console. It's a place where you can run JavaScript code. Right. Now I'm going to go back to Sublime. And to prove to you that main.js is actually loaded into the file, I'm going to go to main.js, and you could do this with me. I'm going to type console.log, which is basically saying write this to the console. And I'm going to write main.js is loaded. Right. And then just because I say so, put a semicolon behind. Okay, so I want you to save that. And if main.js is indeed loaded onto the page, right, the console should have something there, right? We are writing something to the console, we are logging something there. And so go back to Chrome, and this time refresh the page. And you can see at the bottom here, I have main.js is loaded. Right. Sorry? Yes. Refresh. Just refresh the page. So refresh the page. It will load the HTML again. You will see the script tag there. Right. You'll see the script tag in index.html. Then it will go pull these files. It will go find jQuery.js. It will go look for main.js. And then when main.js is loaded, you will see that, oh, console.log main.js is loaded. And then it writes that to the console, and that's why we see it there. So this is pretty cool, right? Well, it's okay. Nobody's going to see this because it's kind of hard to find, and that's really not the point here. The point is just being able to load a JavaScript file into your page, right? So that's the first thing we've done. I hope I've not lost anyone. So let me go back to my slides. Okay, is everyone okay? This part is, for those of you who already know this part, it is a bit dry. I apologize. Okay, so moving right along. What's jQuery? Right, I showed you the Twitter site just now, and I showed you what CSS and HTML. We've shown you what HTML and CSS could do and what they can't do. And so this is the hole that jQuery fills. Right, it allows you to do cool things like you click the X, you click the cross, and then the thing disappears. It allows you to do interactive things on the page. Right? And jQuery borrows from a very familiar idea that we know about. So I'm quite sure you all know what CSS selectors are. All good?
Please do not say that you're good enough because it's only going to get more and more complex.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay, I cannot stress this enough. If if I've lost you, right, do raise your hand. The facilitators are on hand to do that, to get everyone up to speed, because we have a lot to cover. Like, this is just the tip of the iceberg today, right? Okay, so moving on, CSS selectors. We seen it last week, right? We seen it on Saturday actually, and if you know CSS, you'll know that if I want to style this anchor tag, right, this A tag, I will do something like this: A, open brace, the style I want, close brace, and this A is basically the CSS selector. It's saying that go find all the anchor tags, all the A tags in the page, right, and go and style them this way. And similarly, we could do it for classes, right? If this div has a class of box, then we put a dot box, and then we style this, right? Nothing new, right? This should not be new to you. Should just be refreshing your memory. And the last thing is that if the div has an ID of box instead, then instead of the dot, you have the hash, right? And this is saying go look for all the things on the page with the ID of box and give it a padding of 0, right? The important thing is the hash and the box, right? So this is pretty cool. HTML and CSS kind of combines to give us a very nice and neat way to let them interact with each other, right? By saying that, oh, this HTML here looks like this. It has an A, it has the anchor tag, and then in the CSS we could just do A, style it accordingly, and this makes it really simple. And so what jQuery does, right, is that it takes this familiarity of CSS selectors and it gives you a lot of power with it. It takes it to the extreme. And so jQuery code kind of looks like this: a $, parentheses, and then inside there we have the CSS selector. Okay, so it kind of looks like this, right? This is jQuery. This is what jQuery code looks like, and we'll try this in a bit. So yeah, let's try it. So I want you to go to Chrome right now. So we have this page loaded, right? And I told you that the console is a place where we can run JavaScript code. Right? And so now what I want to do is I'm going to tell jQuery, go look for an image tag, right, and give it to me. So what I'll do is I will do jQuery. So the $ is basically jQuery here. So jQuery, go and look for the image tag, right, and give it to me. Right. jQuery, go look for the image tag on the page and give it to me. So press enter, and if you mouse over this thing, you realize that, oh, jQuery found the image, found this particular image at the top. Right? Can all of you see this on your own computer? Can, right? Pretty cool, right? And let's try let's try something more. Let's go to index.html and see what other things we can ask jQuery to find. So we have a h1 tag at the top, right? And let's try to get jQuery to fetch that for us. So I want you to go back to Chrome in the console, and I want you to type jQuery, go get me the h1 tag on the page. Hit enter, and you can see that jQuery went and get the h1 tag on the page for us. Okay, I'm going to refresh the page because I want to clear this thing so you can see. And if you look at index.html, right, now we have this p tag with class booboo. And we learned that we can use CSS selectors, right, instead of just image or H1. And so let's try that. So in your console, I want you to type jQuery. Go and find me the thing with class booboo. And I want you to hit enter. And as expected, it found booboo. Okay. Last but not least, we have a H2 tag here called Rahul. A H2 tag with ID of Rahul. And let's try that with jQuery too. So in your console, I want you to type jQuery. Go get me the thing with the ID of Rahul. Hit enter, and you'll see that it found Rahul. Anyone lost? Okay, I should start asking that. Yeah, if you're lost, raise your hand. Yeah, so this is pretty cool, right? Right now we can get jQuery to go fetch anything we want. We're not doing anything interesting with it yet, but we are using jQuery to go fetch stuff that we want, right? jQuery is doing all this cool stuff behind the scenes, and we just need to say, go fetch me booboo, and it just goes there and get it magically for you. And right now, okay, before we go for a break, let me show you something cool, so to get you excited for what's happening after the break. So I want you to go to main.js, and we have this image tag here, right, in Chrome, and I don't really like this. I like it, but it's too big. So I want you to go to main.js, and I want you to type this, jQuery, go fetch me the image tag on the page. And I know this image is the Hackerschool logo, right? We did it just now. And I want you to set its width to 200. Right. And just because I say so, just put a semicolon behind. So you're basically saying, jQuery, go find me the image tag on the page and give it a width of 200. And which in this case means pixels. So save that and go back to Chrome, and now I want you to refresh the page. This is quite cool, right? The image now has a width of 200 pixels. And we could even do this. So go to the console, and we could even do this here. So let's say 200 is a bit small, and actually I agree, it's a bit too small. And let's do jQuery, find me the image, and set its width to 400. Right. And if you hit enter, it does that. So this is quite cool, right? We managed to get jQuery to go look for stuff in the page for us. Go look for image tags, look for H1 tags. And now, after looking for that, we can tell jQuery, oh, go do this to it. Go set its width to 200, set its width to 400. And there's a whole lot more that I'll cover later. But right now, I think it's a good time for a break. Let's take 5 minutes. And in that time, if you haven't installed the thumb drives, we'll pass them around. And yeah, if you have any questions, do raise your hands.